when you're arguing or you're fighting in marriage, the first most important thing is to give your spouse the right to complain without paying a price.
And it's you and me, babe, whatever comes. Knowing bigger hands are holding ours, and the greatest days are ahead of us. Growing in love, learning to be a better us.
Hi there, welcome to A Better Us, and welcome to our home.
You know, before you got married, you're excited to start your life together, and you think, we're so in love, this is going to be just a walk in the park. But it doesn't take long to figure out that sometimes it's Jurassic Park. Because there can be some pretty tense moments.
That is so true.
Yeah.
But actually, it's how we react in those moments that makes all the difference, which is what marriage expert Jimmy Evans will be talking about today. Unlike Jurassic Park, he says your marriage needs to be a safe place.
Along those same lines, relationship experts Neil and Sharol Josephson say that every couple is incompatible in some ways, but successful couples have learned to be happily incompatible.
They'll tell us what they mean by that and why it's so important to forget the unicorn.
Unicorn.
Unicorn. Forget the unicorn. You're just going to have to listen.
Okay, I will. And also listening in with a few thoughts of their own will be our kitchen couples, CFL football legend Mike "Pinball" Clemons and his wife Diane, and youth and children's pastors Eric and Kara Maines.
Everybody's ready? So let's get started.
When you're fighting in marriage, there's nothing wrong with fighting in marriage. Okay, so good couples fight. The difference between a good marriage and a bad marriage is in a bad marriage you can't resolve your fight. In other words, it's chronic. Karen and I, when we got married, my wife and I, we fought and we didn't resolve it because we just had sick kind of fights, you know, that were unresolved, and so it just kept accumulating. So when you're arguing or you're fighting in marriage, the first most important thing is to give your spouse the right to complain without paying a price. See, in dysfunctional families, there's silence. You can't say how you feel. In fact, in counseling, I've counseled now for 35 years. In counseling, many times a person will come in and say, well, I've got this issue and this issue and this issue in my marriage. And I'll say, well, have you said this to your spouse? They say, oh no, they'd go ballistic. Okay, well, what you need to say to your spouse, both of you need to say is, if there's something bothering you, I want you to tell me. Okay, I'm not going to be defensive and I'm not going to be threatened. By the way, defensiveness is one of the warning signs of divorce. And defensiveness just means, don't tell me if something's wrong. It's not my fault, it's your fault. Okay, defensiveness means you're the problem, I'm not the problem, and I don't want you telling me what's wrong. But what we need to say is, it's like a customer relations counter. In good stores, you're able to complain. The best stores are imperfect. And so there's a customer relations counter, and I can go over and say, hey, I'm having this problem. And they don't shame me, they don't yell at me, they don't throw stuff at me. They say, oh, we're sorry, how can we resolve that? That's a good marriage. In a good marriage, you're saying, hey, I'm trying to be the best husband I can be. I'm trying to be the best wife I can be, but I'm not perfect. And so listen, if I'm not doing something right, would you tell me? Okay, I say to my wife on some regular basis, are you okay? And she knows what that means. She knows if she's not okay, I'll change anything in my life to make her okay. See, how do you know that you're a good husband until your wife tells you? How do you know you're a good wife until your husband tells you? That's the point. We want to please each other. And if I'm going to please you, it means you have to have the opportunity to complain without losing your dignity. Now let me talk about complaining versus criticizing. Okay, so the first thing is we give each other the right to complain without going ballistic or being defensive. Number two is we complain and not criticize. Now this is a huge thing. See, in marriage, the truth that I need to tell you is not always Bible truth, it's just my truth. And here's what I'm saying. If I come at you criticizing is this, you are such an idiot, you're such a witch, you did that and you were paying me back. And in other words, I'm the judge and the jury and I'm coming at you finger pointing and calling you names. You're immediately defensive, you immediately close your heart, and it's going to be a fight, okay? You can't do that. Okay? You give each other the right to complain, and here's what complaining means. You said this to me, and I don't know what you meant by it, but I want to tell you how I feel. Okay. I feel hurt. I feel like you're paying me back. I feel like this and this and this. So sure, I'm not finger pointing and I'm not calling you names. And I'm not telling you that what I'm saying is true. My feelings may be real. That doesn't mean they're right. We have many feelings in our lives that they're not necessarily right. But here's the point. So I come to Karen and I come at her, finger pointing, and I used to do that all the time. Doesn't work. When you say it doesn't work. But if I am angry at Karen, if I'm hurt, if I'm frustrated, I'll say to her, and you have to begin kindly, okay? So when you're complaining, you can't say, let me just tell you something, I've got my lawyer's number on speed dial on my phone right there, and if this conversation doesn't go well, I'm gonna hit that button. You can't threaten divorce, you can't threaten an affair, you can't come angry. You start by saying, I love you and you're my friend, and we're on the same team, okay? I need to tell you something, okay? Tell me. We have the right to complain if we have a good marriage. And you say, I don't know if this is right, okay? It's real to me, but that doesn't mean that's necessarily real. I feel like what you said yesterday, I feel like what you did, I feel like that you were trying to hurt me or you were doing whatever. And then you let them respond. And when they respond, and probably the way that they'll respond is, well, honey, that's not true. And when they respond, you don't say, well, you're a liar and you're an idiot and you're lying to me right now. Don't say that. You say, really? No, that's not true. Okay, well, I love you and thank you for letting me talk. And it's over. You resolve it. If you've done something wrong, or if they've done something wrong, you need to say, I'm sorry. I was wrong. Will you forgive me? Now, this is one of the things that healed our marriage. I never said I was wrong, but I got real good at it. And I began to take responsibility. See, blame transfer was the original sin of marriage. When Adam and Eve fell, God walked up to Adam and said, what is this that you've done? He said, that woman that you gave me is the problem. Blame transfer. So what happens is, I've got to take responsibility for my problems. Now listen, if I'm only 10% of the problem, I'm still part of the problem. And I can change my behavior. I can't change your behavior. I can change my behavior. And see, when I humble myself, the Bible says a harsh answer stirs up anger, but a soft answer is like healing. A soft answer calms everything down. And so we forgive each other. Will you forgive me? I forgive you. And then you kiss and make up and you go away. What I just said to you right there, that's how you resolve conflict in your marriage. You give each other the right to complain. You complain. You don't criticize. When you complain, you begin with loving words, not angry words. You take responsibility. Share your feelings. Maybe real with them, not necessarily right. Okay, don't try to interpret them. Listen. If you've done something wrong, repent, forgive each other, and you have a good marriage. Doesn't mean you don't get mad. It means you know how to resolve your conflict.
Okay, we are in the kitchen with our kitchen couples, Mike and Diane, Eric and Kara, and we get to talk about conflict and fighting. Isn't that fun?
You know what? I know we talk about things like this a lot, but it's because it happens a lot in marriage. In a regular, everyday marriage, you run into these things of conflict.
We do not.
We do too. Actually,
But
we
yeah,
do too.
Sure, yeah. I mean, everyone.
Yeah.
We do three.
Yeah, we all struggle in marriage, and we all have to learn how to find the tools to become a better us, right?
And I like how Jimmy talked about the idea of giving your spouse the right to complain. Like the best companies in the world have also the best customer service counters or a customer service line or something. There's something wrong, they want to know about it. They want to keep you as a customer. You know, we want to keep our spouse, we hope, as our wife or husband. And so they not only give you that right, these best companies, they say, okay, I'm sorry that happened. How do we fix it? And what can we do to make it better, to keep you as a customer? And so they know something that sometimes in this most important relationship here on earth, we need to grab hold of.
You have to intentionally just put your pride aside. Because pride says I'm right, where love says I'm ready to talk about it. Like, I think I am right, but you know what? I am willing to talk about it and hear your side and go deeper in this.
I love when he said, my feelings are real. They may not be right, but they're real, right? And that hit something with me, because it's like when you're in the heat of the moment and you argue it, and your spouse is like, well, you're not right, that's wrong, but it's how I feel. Just hear me, right? That's how I feel. So I thought that was very important, because as a couple, you need to just be able to hear each other.
Yeah, and validate each other's opinion.
Yeah, that's it. You just listen to each other, and then you talk about it.
Because if you bottle it up all the time, that might cause more issues than if you just laid it all on the table and said,
Just put it
like,
out
I
there.
may not be right, but here's how I'm feeling, and just lay it out and then work at it together.
With a
And
soft answer.
yeah, instead of being like, I don't want to tell you how I'm feeling because you might get mad at me or judge me or think I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But this way we can work at it together.
Well, that's the way, growing up in my home, we really didn't complain. There was no conflict. It just wasn't, you just didn't go there. You just didn't go there. So when we got married, I had to learn that it's okay to complain. Not only that, it's expected to complain. So when you have something you need to share. So when I did learn that, the freedom I had, it's like, okay, well, there's this, and then there's that, and then,
Let's just let it all out.
But of course, then that provokes what kind of a response from you? You get defensive,
Yeah. So okay, yes.
Rightly so.
I have this
You know.
prideful defensive that'll
Yeah.
pop up, rear its ugly head because I think I'm right in things.
Yeah.
But backing up, like when you were a kid,
Yeah.
the reason why there wasn't much of that happening because it wasn't a safe place to bring
That's
up
right.
something,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it might be you weren't given the right to complain,
Right.
really.
Yeah.
As he was saying, you have to give your spouse the right.
And creating a safe place in marriage, that's the most important place, to create a safe place. We set these boundaries up with our friends where we say, okay, you know what, you can tell me anything, I'm here for you. But it seems like with our spouse, it's like we do life so much every day, day to day, that we kind of run out of patience. It's like, are you serious? But we have to have that safe place created for them, don't we? Yeah.
I loved what he said about how like a calm reaction kind of
The soft
settled,
answer,
the soft answer settles it down. Well, that's actually something I've had to learn, because if I am very upset about something and I come at Eric very energized about it,
Passionately.
then I want him to respond the same way. I want
She wants
to
me to
feel
rise up to their
his
level
passion
and be
for
like, okay,
this.
you know what? Yeah, you're right. I am here, but I would try to do the soft answer.
Yeah,
Like,
he's very-
well, sweetheart, but like at times that could sound kind of like
Condescending.
Yeah, that's right. Just like I know I'm right, so darling, darling.
Right? Or I feel like he doesn't care about it, but just because he's answering me in a soft manner doesn't mean he doesn't care about the situation. I just have to refocus, and sometimes I have to say, get my feelings in line and in check and say, oh no, Kara, like
So it's how
he
you
doesn't.
enter the conversation
Yes.
is really important too. Okay, well this is
Ultimately, resolving those issues, I think, is the key. A good customer service, right? You resolve the issues. And one of the verses I love in that whole love chapter, 1 Corinthians 13, is love keeps no record of wrongs.
That's it. That's good. I love
Don't
it.
let things build up, and bring it out into the open and deal with it and do it today as well.
All right.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, don't go away, because we have more coming up shortly right here in the kitchen with our kitchen
Stay
couples.
with us.
Give up trying to change them. They're not wrong for being an extrovert, just as you're not wrong for being an introvert. And trying to change these inherent differences almost always fails, and it can be hurtful.
Hi, we hope you're enjoying the show.
Our vision at A Better Us is to see every marriage become a loving union that creates a safe family haven, building a legacy of hope for future generations.
That's why we feel it's so important to invest in marriage relationships through producing a new episode of A Better Us every week.
Absolutely. If you feel as we do that marriages are worth investing in, then please consider joining us as a member of A Better Us with a monthly donation of $25.
You'll be making a big difference in lives and families, and we'll send you 2 of our special mugs, the mugs that you see our kitchen couples using each program.
Absolutely. And be sure to send us your mugshot selfie, and we'll post it on our Facebook page and on our website.
Simply visit abetterus.tv and click donate to set up your automatic monthly giving. God bless you, and thank you so much for making this program possible and helping us strengthen marriages.
So we can all become a better us.
Billy Graham once described his lifelong marriage to Ruth this way: we are happily incompatible. I think that's really good, isn't it? See, because here's the truth. Every couple's incompatible in some significant ways. It's not that happier and healthier couples don't have differences. They do. We do. They simply have learned to deal with them. Now, the first big bulge of divorce in Canada is around year 4, and here's the dynamic we've discovered. The couple gets married, and at first they're kind of oblivious to their differences, or they minimize it because they're in love, or they discount them because they're pretty sure the other person's going to change after the ceremony, or once I get a chance to work on them. And a few months or a few years later, it's pretty clear that this person is indeed that way. And then that couple has a choice. They can learn to deal with the differences and build a durable marriage, or they can pull the plug on this one and they can go search for the unicorn, the person I should have married, the one with whom I am perfectly compatible.
Yeah, which doesn't exist. We all know that. That person does not exist. So we teach couples to lean into our differences, accept these differences, and learn to appreciate them. They can actually make for a better us. Now, just to be clear, we're not talking about accepting bad behavior, hurtful, destructive, immoral behavior. We're talking about the kinds of differences that come from our family of origin, or our cultural backgrounds, our life experiences, or just our personality differences. And these things are generally hardwired into who we are, and they're not likely to change.
One of the personality differences Sharol and I have learned to live with and even learned to appreciate is the difference between an introvert and an extrovert. And we're using the terms the way they're supposed to be used. And it's this way: an introvert recharges by time alone. And an extrovert recharges by time with people, and that's me. We are different, which means that the very thing that brings me energy and joy, like having people over all the time, burns Sharol out.
And the very thing that brings me energy and restores my soul makes Neil feel left out. So early in our marriage, we'd go on vacation, and I'd say, you know what, honey, I'm going to go for a walk. And you'd say, great. Where are we going?
Yeah, I'm coming.
And I'd say, no, I'm going to go for a walk. And then you were hurt and felt rejected.
I did.
And so we would keep bumping into this particular difference, but we didn't have the language to know what was going on. Maybe we didn't know how to be honest, but it took us far too long to figure out what was going on in this dynamic.
So over time, I learned to give Sharol space, alone time, which is a concept I still don't really understand. But I give her alone time, and I know that she's going to come back to me happier and healthier and ready to have people over or spend time with me or whatever. That's just one issue. I mean, the list of personality differences that create stress for couples is almost endless. One of you might be an external processor, and the other one's an internal processor. One of you is a feelings person, the other is a fact person. Or one of you might be a task-oriented person. Somebody who can't slow down or relax until the whole list of tasks is done. And the other person's a relationship person, and they can feel quite hurt that you won't sit down and just cuddle on the couch until the whole list of chores is done.
Yeah. The differences are endless, as you said, and that's one of them for us. But here's the takeaway. If these differences are part of the person you married, give up trying to change them. They're not wrong for being an extrovert, just as you're not wrong for being an introvert. And trying to change these inherent differences almost always fails, and it can be hurtful. Often those differences, truth be told, are what you fell in love with in the first place, that otherness of the other. So let's lean into the differences, learn how to appreciate them, and make a better us. The goal is to be together, not the same.
All right, we are back in the kitchen with Mike and Diane and Eric and Kara and Neil and Sharol. Some good teaching there as we talk about differences and that quote from Billy Graham about, we are happily incompatible as a couple. It's a nice way to look at it.
It's so funny when you're dating or when you first meet your future spouse, it's the differences that attract you to them. I remember the first time I ever laid eyes on this guy, it was university. There were a lot of guys around and they were all, loud and cocky and arrogant. And then there was this gorgeous, gentle giant.
Okay, do we need to leave?
Yeah, I know. He's still gorgeous. This gentle giant of a guy. He's just steady Eddie, loyal. He's there for you, and that's what attracted me to him. I thought, oh, this guy is a gem. And so we started dating, we got married. A few months into marriage, all this gentleness, this steady Eddie, I'm saying, come on, get excited, and he's saying, but that's not me. You married a steady Eddie, gentle guy. And so quite often, it's those differences that then all of a sudden, we are different, aren't we?
And it's kind of similar with me, but opposite, because what attracted me to Anne is she was so emotionally expressive, and she was out there and vibrant, and so I thought, hey, that's something that I know I'm lacking, but this has kind of attracted me to her. And then into marriage a little bit, it's still going on.
Yeah.
And so maybe it starts to get old a little bit.
Yeah.
But I remember someone asking me, so what have you really learned about marriage? A few years in, and I thought about it. I thought, how emotional women can be. What's with that? And so
it's what attracted you to me in the first place.
Yeah, so those differences.
Those differences.
But you learn
Did
to
you guys find
appreciate
that
them.
too? The differences?
Yeah, I like how they brought up the introvert and extrovert, because I recharge with people where Kara recharges with time alone. And sometimes Kara will be like, all right, so I just need some space right now. And I'm just like, space? What is space? Let's just be together and let's figure this out. And no, I need space. Space? What is?
Sometimes I'll come home from a really long day at work, and then I'll get in the car, and Eric's like, how was your day? And I was like, how about we just not talk until we get home? Let's just take it easy for a second while I process everything
turn
that
my
I went
attention
through.
on the radio. She'll be like, oh, look what song's on. She'll turn the music up and I'll be like, what do you mean? Oh, it is a good song. Okay. And then she'll retreat into her side of the car. Okay, what's going on?
Decompress.
Tactics.
Well, Diane and I are exactly the same.
Yeah.
We are.
You're talking about the same as them, or the same as each other?
No, we're the same as each other, the exact same. No, not at all, not at all. Yeah, so she
Complete opposite.
she is the private one, yes, and but what we found out that it complements us in these really neat ways, because I'm a north, south, east, west. I'm a compass, right? She's landmarks. Right, so if we're in a place where we just turn up by the church, right, and so they complement each other, and so it did take us a while to learn that, but we found that these differences have actually made us stronger, right? That they have given us a broader platform to stand on.
We realized that we're better together, working through the differences, right? So.
Yeah. There was this quote that I saw, and it said, a great marriage is not the perfect couple comes together. It is when an imperfect couple learns to enjoy their differences.
That's it.
Just learning to enjoy each other.
And in the process, you're going to butt heads a few times.
Oh, yes.
There's going to be some sparks flying. There's going to be. So it's learning how to, you walk away, once the dust settles from that, you walk away and say, okay, this is because we're so different.
Right.
But you know what? I love your differences because you keep me grounded. You keep me steady. And my differences from you, I get you excited about things. And so if we can just kind of take that step back and say, okay, let's celebrate that and see how we can do this instead of doing that.
So not that we actually change our spouse and their wiring. I'm still wired to be, the quieter and the introvert and not getting all emotional and excited about things. But I know kind of when you need me to elaborate more on something and to I say, okay, she needs me to talk and open up about something, or maybe at least come close to her level of excitement about something. And so I got to come out of my shell a little bit more, and because I know she needs that.
Yeah, so it's just celebrating those differences. All right.
Okay, this has been good. It's been different. But we will be back with some closing thoughts. Stay with us.
Don't go away.
Hey friends, Ron and Ann here. We're so glad you're with us at A Better Us, and we pray your marriage is blessed as you take this in.
Be sure and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and enjoy this video.
Hey, when it comes to having your husband communicate to a wife, I got some thoughts about that because we do really prize that kind of intimacy that comes through a great conversation.
I'm ready to hear this. What do you have to say on it?
I know.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, it doesn't take much, honestly, just to be listened to deeply and to know that sends a deep message that we're being cherished because you value us enough to just stop doing whatever tasks are distracting and just hear us out.
So, and I think you I noticed you put that word cherish in there.
I sure did.
That's a really important word.
It's a really important word.
Because most guys, we know this from research, really don't understand what it means to cherish your wife. And so when Leslie says, well, just to be listened to and so forth, that's her language. I know that that's when she feels cherished, that I'm fully present, I'm not looking at my phone, that I am tuned in, I'm reflecting feelings and clarifying content. I am with her with a genuine heart. That's what it means to cherish you.
It does. And the genuine heart is everything, because even if you don't get the feelings right or don't understand everything, if I know you're fully present, it doesn't matter. I will keep talking until you get it.
Yeah, so there you go. A tip for all of us guys. You want to know how to love your wife better? Underscore that word cherish and find out what it means to her, because that's the key.
Today's program has given us a lot to take in, from the inevitable fighting in marriage to how different we are. And often it's how different we are that causes the fighting in marriage.
Right. As Jimmy Evans pointed out, our marriage needs to be a safe place. We need to be able to share what's on our heart, even if it's a complaint. It's the attitude and tone of the conversation that makes all the difference.
Absolutely. Like Eric and Kara mentioned, starting the conversation way up here emotionally isn't going to do anybody any good. In fact, it's probably going to set the tone in a bad way. It's going to put your spouse on the defensive, and it's going to pull you further apart. I know I've been guilty of that.
But the point of trying to resolve conflict is to bring you closer together. And that's not always easy in the heat of the moment.
That's right.
We can try on our own willpower and strength, but we often fall short. Having God's inner strength and His inner peace can make a huge difference.
Absolutely. We often say closer to God means closer to each other, because with God we can have a kind of stability and even a joy that's not dependent on our circumstances. The Bible calls it a peace that's beyond our understanding.
If you're saying, that's what I need, we'd love to talk with you and pray with you about that. Why not call our prayer line right now? You see the number on your screen, and it's available 24/7. Your marriage is worth the work. Don't give up.
We're so glad you've joined us today. And remember, with God, there is always hope to become a better us.
Hey friends, we really hope you're enjoying the marriage conversations here with A Better Us on our YouTube channel.
We have hundreds of more helpful marriage videos designed to give you hope and tools to make your marriage better.
You can see just a few options we think you might like here and here.
Enjoy! Oh, and make sure you subscribe by clicking here so you don't miss out on all the great marriage help we have coming your way soon.